Welcome back to the Ecchi and Chill Show, everybody. I'm your host, Suneater Evan. It is great to see you guys again. We're just gonna get right into it. I'm gonna call this episode "Depressed on Titan" because Attack on Titan made me depressed when I was watching it. Not in like a depressed way, but man, it was not narratively fun to watch it. For those who don't know, I'm gonna spoil a like what is it like the manga ended a couple years ago. We're just gonna go steamroller right now. If you don't want spoilers for what's going on, just go ahead, pick a different episode. I got a couple more to choose from. It is just me today since what episode one, the pilot. So I'm just gonna pilot my own ship today. I'm watching Attack on Titan, the final episode of part two of the final season. And man, it was a great one. It was an intense one. In that one, we see what's left of the scouts ally with what is left of the Marleyan soldiers trying to protect their homeland, and they descend on a port that is controlled by Jaegerists. They get on this port, it's Titans fighting. It is the air gear going all types of crazy. It's loud, it's intense, it is very focused, and you can feel the narrative stakes going off right now. You feel this episode. It was great. It was outside of the cut that. This is the most action we have probably seen since the end of season three. It's pretty reminiscent of season one, how just action packed it was. And it was a lot of fun to watch, but I wasn't having any fun. I'm not going to lie to you. I wasn't having any fun. When I saw Keith Sadis, a man who we forgot about for about 10, 15 episodes now, ally with the Marleyan general, who none of us really had ever liked, stay behind to blow up the cruiser ship that could potentially catch humanity's last hope. And they didn't even know their names. They didn't know each other's names up until it was time to blow the ship up. They were just like, we're two men trying to do right by the world, and the world might remember us for it. It might not. We're just doing this. And to see that, I was just kind of sad. And I'll tell you why. Because this is all the culmination, or just the next big event in a cycle of big events, of just that pure cycle of hatred that everybody in the show keeps talking about. This cycle of hatred has led us to this point where we see Mikasa bathing in the blood of the enemies she's killed, the Jaegerists, who at this point, like a year ago, were her teammates. The same scouts she had eaten with, fought with, she's now having to kill in order to protect the world. Now that they already know the secrets of the Titans that they were fighting so hard to get not even a season ago. See Connie and John and Armin just grapple with the weight of what they're about to do and the weight of what needs to be done just perpetuates the cycle of hatred. They have to ally with people that call them island devils to then kill people who are from their island to save everybody except the island. It was an amazing episode to see. And I wasn't having a great time, even though it narratively was fantastic. Now, this isn't some me crapping on Attack on Titan because I do think it is a fantastic show. And even if the ending, I'm reading the manga now because I'm not going to wait for 2023 to figure out how this one ends. Even if the ending is a bit shoddy, the journey that we've seen from the walls getting knocked down to where we are today has been such a long and perfectly crafted one. I can deal with the below average 3 out of 10, 4 out of 10 ending. Unless they just Game of Thrones the whole thing, and it turns out the real Titans were the friends we made along the way. But I'll tell you why I'm not having fun. I'll tell you why I wasn't as blown away as some of my friends were. And that's because every time something negative happens, I think of King Fritz, the first king of Marley. Well, sorry, no, the first king. Sorry, let me walk that back. I think of King Fritz, the first king, the only true villain of the series, and a man that is unforgivable in my eyes. So I don't care how intense this series gets, I'm going to be sad because I keep coming back to King Fritz. So walk with me for a second. Let's talk about it. So, King Fritz, the moment I saw him on screen and saw the actions he did, that is the moment I was on Aaron's side. Honest to God, I was with Aaron at that moment. Just, all right, Aaron, rumble, stomp over everything, start over. This planet needs a brand new, fresh start. Forget it. There can't be a cycle of hatred if there's just no cycle. I'm on Aaron's side. Initially, way back in the day, follow with me, and we're going to talk about some lore of Attack on Titan. Way back in the days, there were just these people at some village. That's pretty much all we get. That's all we really need to know. There were just people on a village, and then some other people show up. These are heavily armored people showing up with horses and spears and shields and swords, and they take over and enslave these villagers. And they are literally oppressing these people. This is a story we've seen time and time again through human history. And these oppressed people are nothing but slaves. They're nothing but property to the oppressors, to who became to be King Fritz, I should say. And all this, seeing Aaron and all these colossal titans and Captain Levi fighting the Beast Titan, came about because of this. This is what happened. This is what made all the events of Attack on Titan happen. And it's such a frustrating thing to think about. So, this village of people, minding their own business, become slaves to a brand new tribe of people. That tribe, they raze the village to the ground, turn these people to slaves. And one of these slaves was given freedom. For the audio only listeners, I'm putting air quotes up here, where she was told, run as far as you can. And behind her, there were these soldiers hunting her down. I'm talking dogs and arrows, and they get a couple arrows in her, and it's just this depressing, sad thing to watch because this is how she's going to die. But she crawls into a hole inside of this tree. I don't know the name of it yet. I haven't read that far in the manga. Forgive me. And she goes through the woods. Sorry, she is running through these woods. She goes into the hole in this tree. She falls down in a cave beneath this tree and comes into contact with something. And she becomes the first Titan. That's what happens. And I'm like, oh, okay, this is cool. I'm praying she is going to do something to free her people, to free the oppressed people of her village so they can go back to just doing their own thing how they used to be. But no, she doesn't become anything more than a tool for King Fritz to just oppress the local area as well. He then becomes just the leader of this tribe to king. And then he uses this Titan to further his goals, further his tribe. And then we learned that his tribe's name is Eldia. These oppressors that just came out of nowhere for these villagers, they're named Eldia. So it really got to me when I was looking back at it and I'm hearing all these people talking about restore Eldia and fight for Eldia. We're restorationists. Eldia was great. The subjects of Ymir, that is the first Titan, her descendants, they were all subjects of Ymir, that is people that can turn into Titans. They were never a part of Eldia. They were slaves of Eldia. They were oppressed by Eldia. They're fighting for something that was never theirs or a thing that was theirs. I'm going to need a break. So all this Eldia restoration, all this Eldia's great sin was really nothing. Because the first Titan died to save King Fritz. Someone tried to assassinate him. And Ymir, the first Titan, dove in front of a spear that was headed for King Fritz. And as Ymir is dying on the floor in front of him, he can barely move an inch as he looks down at her body and the life leaves her eyes. And he just goes, that's it. You furthered my tribe, and that this is all you can do for me right now? You're better than this. No remorse in his eyes. He doesn't care. Why? Because he's already gotten what he could get out of her. Earlier, he looked at her and was like, you know what? You're furthering my tribe, Eldia. We're gonna go oppress our mortal enemies, Marley, using your brand new Titan powers. So I'm gonna give you my seed, like that, like he's God's gift to the world. So after he gives her the seed, they go on to make 3 children. And after Ymir dies, I swear to God, this man does, and I mean this as someone who's seen all kinds of horror anime, ecchi anime, mystery anime, messed up animes. This man does one of the most unforgivable things I can honestly say I've ever seen in anime. After Ymir, the first Titan, dies, he decides he's going to feed Ymir to his 3 daughters. He had no idea, not one clue that would work. He just made his daughters eat the corpse of their mother on a guess. He had no idea Titan powers were going to be transferred via spinal fluid. How could he? Feeds Ymir to his daughters, and it works. They become the next 3 Titans, and they give birth to 3 children each, which become the 9 total Titans, each of them exhibiting something that the first of the 3 daughters needed. For example, the attack Titan always wants freedom, which makes sense because why would you want to be a slave to, what would be a slave, period? The other, resilience, creating the armor Titan. The other, creating favoring versatility, creating the cart Titan. And the female Titan, who is the most versatile of the Titans, can do a bit of everything. And then I saw Zeke on screen for a hot second after this, and I was like, oh, Zeke, he has royal blood. Then it got to me. What royal blood? What royal blood? There is no royal blood. It's the first Titan and King Fritz. And King Fritz only made babies with this woman because she was useful. And then he made his resulting Titans, the 3 new Titans, stamp over Marley. So when I see Marley, and Marley talks about Eldia's great sin, you devil Eldians, your great sin. Their great sin was being oppressed by Eldia. The Titan's great sin was being a tool for Eldia to then go oppress Marley as they were forced to do. And then at some point, history happens and the Titans become under Marley's control. So now you have these oppressed people in an internment zone who are, and calling them treated as second-class citizens would be honestly a compliment. They're basically still the same slaves. They're not allowed to leave the confines of their little space. They're not allowed to have things. They walk down the street, they're bruised, beaten, spat at, and killed, and nothing happens of that. They're very much oppressed people, but they're used as tools for Marley to go take over the rest of the goddamn world. I get so frustrated when I take a second and think about the violence I see in Attack on Titan and realize all of this just happened because, and they love this quote, they were just people. Their sin wasn't really a sin. They were just people minding their business before Fritz and his Eldians came over and oppressed them. And then by pure happenstance, Ymir meets something and becomes the first Titan. At which point King Fritz decides, oh, I can use her. She's useful. And then oppresses Marley. Marley then gets control of these Titans and continue doing the same damn thing Eldia did. Just as bad, probably worse. So you know what? Not only am I on Aaron's side, I'm on the first King's side. Because guess what? Marley was terrible beforehand. So was the rest of the world. Because you can just imagine even in countries we're never going to visit in the world of Attack on Titan, they were probably doing about the same thing. They were probably oppressing little marginalized groups like they have been doing because humans fucking suck. And to see Eldians atone for a sin and then wish to be honorary Marleyans, which they're still second class citizens, it just breaks my heart. So when the first king just said, I'm going to take a bunch of Eldians, we're going to move over to an island, we're going to build walls, and we're just going to live up in peace. One day you're going to come for me, but until you do, we're just going to live behind these walls, and that's going to be the end of it. We're going to finally live in peace. I'm okay with that. Because that, for Eldians, is paradise. That is beautiful. That's the first peace they've literally ever had. Think about that for a second. Well, walked into a point. I didn't even think about that. Think about seasons 1 through like 3 of Attack on Titan, where the islanders are just behind these walls for 100 years. And sure, Titans show up. Titans eat some people every now and then. The scouts continually go outside the walls, get eaten, come back, plan their next expedition. From the first king shifting a bunch of Eldians onto the island up until the events of like episode 1, their lives have never been better than that point. In that 100 years, they have absolutely peaked. And that was cowering behind walls created by the first king. I'm with the first king. The first king is probably the only good person in this series. And everybody looks at his pacifism in seasons 2 and 3 like, oh, this is a problem. We have to fix this. No, you don't. This is the best, honestly, it's ever going to get for those people. Because they can turn into Titans. They're the island devils that not only Marley, but the entire world despises. And they're just tools used by the rest of the world to go oppress the rest of the world. And I'm going to tell you, I was exhausted. Hanj, I love you. I love Hanj. I love Mikasa. I love Armin. But I'm against y'all right now because I'm on Aaron's side. Hanj was right. Genocide is wrong. But at a certain point, this shit just has to stop. This is a battle that was being fought long before any of them existed. And if they just knew the story of the first Titan Ymir and how tragic that was to just be minding your business before you become a slave nearly overnight, seeing everybody you know and love wiped out and having to serve King freaking Fritz, I'm on Aaron's side. Stamp it down, start over. Now, before I close that one out, I do understand that the military police has done some foul shit in order to keep peace inside the walls. I get it. Because Erwin's father, I believe, was answering questions about humanity outside the walls because Erwin's like, well, the books never say that humanity was completely wiped out. They just said there's no humans. How do we know? Let's find out. And Erwin's dad was like, hey, tone it down. We don't know. Before Erwin's father was lifted off the planet, never to be seen again. I think there was another story. There was a man who found a spot outside of the walls where it was pretty hard for the military police to be able to see him. And at this spot at the wall, he just starts digging. He wants to see how deep down these walls go because something appears to be a problem. And he digs for like, what is it? Not 40 days and 40 nights, but he does dig for a considerable amount of time. At which point, he just keeps digging and the walls just go on and on and on. And when he rises from this hole, the military police just picks him up, never seen again. Oh, and the whole let's kidnap Aaron again for Big Boss Rod Weiss, that was a whole thing. So I'm not defending the military police. Like, inside the walls wasn't necessarily the best treatment. But compared to the actions against the subjects of Ymir, being inside the walls for that 100 years was the best thing that could have ever happened to those people. So Attack on Titan is now in my mind firmly as depressed on Titan. I'm on Aaron's side. I want him to step over the world, kill 80% of these people. I was hoping he would go the whole 100, to be honest with you. Humans are a virus. Humans are a virus sometimes, B. Hey, Aaron, I'm with you. Team Jaegerist till I die, but I'm more first king. Like, let's just go away, and then we'll figure the rest of this out. We're going to shift into the next thing I want to talk about today. We're just going to have some fun right quick because Attack on Titan is making me quite sad. We're going to read comments on anime I love, but specifically, we're going to read hate comments. We're going to see what people had to say about anime that I really liked. So I pulled these from my anime list a few weeks ago, so I don't remember it. I don't have a producer right now. Sushi is hanging with her friends. I don't have a PA to read these to me live. So I forgot what these comments are. I don't have any notes. It's going to be the closest we get to doing it live. So let's start. So I limited this to anime that were popular, somewhat that everybody knew. Like, I didn't want to go through Naruto because that is too many comments to have to sit through. So I went through anime that kind of have a pretty big base, or at least everybody's heard of to some degree. So the first one I have is Kakegurui. For those who are unfamiliar, I love Kakegurui. Is it the best anime? No, but it's not trying to be this big, well-paced, super well-written, super detailed anime. It's not trying to be a Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, nor is it trying to be a Attack on Titan kind of show. It's just trying to be a gambling anime. This centers around Yumiko Jabami, who's a brand new student at Hikau Private Academy, where at this school, grades kind of don't matter. Your gambling skill is what matters. And to rise through the ranks, you need to amass amount of wealth, because as soon as classes are over, kids just gamble. And the show focuses on pretty much the crazy psycho and sociopathic people that do gamble with their immense amount of wealth, their family names. And if you go into a certain amount of debt, you become a house pet. And if you go into obscene debt, the school pretty much is powerful, air quotes, enough to assign you a life plan in which you pretty much do what the life plan says. So essentially, if you get into enough debt, they own your life. And it's really fun. I kind of enjoy it. It's just an entertaining watch. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that you need to watch it, but I mean, it's entertaining. So when I saw some hate comments on it, I was pretty shocked. So let's go with the first one. The hate comment reads as follows. As mentioned earlier, the anime does nothing to try and stay grounded in any form of reality. Don't interpret this as me saying every aspect of anime has to be realistic, because that's not true. The story itself is lackluster. Every episode is about challenging a difficult enemy or opponent that has their own gambling game. And surprise, most of them are cheating. Okay, nothing crazy so far. The anime doesn't teach you any real-world wisdom about gambling. There's no battle of wits, no mind games, nothing. The MC will deduce her best chances of winning and will expose her opponent for cheating and then stare at them with the orgasm face. Okay, I'm failing to see what the problem is. Do you think Food Wars teaches you how to actually cook? No, it just says a bunch of ingredients and you just figure it out. But all right, we're going to keep going. The story appears to head towards fighting against the members of the student council, who are presumably some of the best. If you end up in debt, you're a human pet where you're treated as subhuman and told to clean up coffee spills or be a leg stool, which makes no sense. There are no adults in this school, no staff, no actual classes, just a bunch of students who sit around gambling, and when someone ends up losing, they treat them like shit and vandalize their desk. That's it? These are future leaders of Japan? Rich parents sending off their children to throw money around at this prestigious academy, which has no structure, just a group of stuck-up misfits as the student council with their unique deep plot quirks, and one even wears a mask. Oh. Again, I say, none of this is unrealistic, because have you seen any anime? Where are the adults? There's like one or two, and we all know in anime, the student council of shows is about as powerful as the Illuminati. And plus, the ruling class are pretty much fucked up in just about every society you're going to meet. So I'm not seeing your point with that one. But I'm going to keep going. If you can't repay your debt, The student council of special individuals arrange a life plan for you. When the protagonist finds herself in debt, she gets this pamphlet on her future, which is basically human trafficking. She's supposed to marry some random pre-selected guy, bear his children, and live out the life specified by the student council of special kids. And they enforce this by political, powerful connections. There's nothing rewarding about this anime. You won't get any new insight into the gambling world. It's a lazy, trope-filled piece of shit with no redeeming qualities except hot girls with orgasm faces. I'm going to end it here. The art and music is average, and that's the only thing they succeed in. Is this anime memorable in any way? No. Are you going to want to watch it? No. Depends on who you are, but because there's clear demand for this type of shit. All right, first of all, I hate you. First of all, no. I don't understand. You can just say it costs you nothing to just say it's not for you. That's all. So I got another one for it. This show wants us to take it seriously and adds no comic relief to the atmosphere. The author didn't get the memo that Prison School was a psychology comedy that didn't try to make you take its bizarre concepts seriously, but the dilemmas and punishments in Prison School gave us a real sense of urgency. Prison School also had great characters, a lot of psychological elements, and was hilarious. I'm guessing they tried to say that Kakegurui failed because it would try to be a copy of Prison School. I haven't seen it. Drop a comment if I should. Why it fails as a gambling anime. It stretches the suspension of disbelief and doesn't give us insight on the reasoning behind these characters' deductions. Yumiko just tends to magically call out the cheating of her opponent with a contrived explanation we never get to see. Okay, that's a fair point. Yumiko does kind of just sit back and she's like, oh, hey, I knew you guys were cheating. And then she does the grand reveal. And it's not like a mystery, in which case we sit back, see all the clues, and we could put that together on like a rewatch. No, Yumiko's just like, oh, yeah, you were cheating. I figured it out. It would be amazing to see inside her brain. We just never get to see it. Okay, fair point. That's fair. The thrills are non-existent. Every situation and all the stakes are super low. And since Yumiko's the love child of a gambling Mary Sue and Gasai, thinking that's a character, the most she'll lose is money, but she throws that around like candy, so who cares? Even when she has her gun in her face, we know she's going to be okay. She's perfect in every way. She never has a human reaction. We can't relate to her. Remember this, every episode's formulaic. We don't have to empathize and relate to every single character we see, but all right. I remember. I think I put this in because I hated this comment about the characters. Characters. Dear God, no character in this anime is anything more than one-dimensional. Yumiko is a perfect gambler who wins without even having to work for it. We don't have any humanity for her, and because of this, we cannot relate to her whatsoever. That comment actually pissed me off. That comment pissed me off. Not every character needs to be relatable. I hate when people say characters need to be relatable. I hate when people say that. And I can't stand when people go, oh, well, there's nothing likable about them, so I'm not going to relate to them. You're not supposed to relate to and like Light Yagami. Light Yagami kills people. And at a certain point in the story, he just kills people indiscriminately because they look like they're thinking about possibly getting in his way. You're not supposed to like a lot of main characters in anime. You're supposed to make them motivated. Yumiko's trying to fuck this school up. That is her whole point. I can give you credit for she just kind of figures out that they're cheating because she's just smart. All right. But people that demand relatability from every one of their characters in an anime, oh, laughable. Oh, I can't stand it. She is completely emotionless until she starts shit talking. She has no depth and no layers. She is so perfect. Well, she is perfect. That's the point. I love her. She finds out the villain's way without us even seeing or hearing. She finds out the villain's way of cheating without us even hearing or seeing it. Indeed, that is how observation works. And the anime is not smart enough to where we're given opportunity to figure about it ourselves. Truth be told, Yumiko is no more than a Mary Sue. It may seem like a stretch to claim this, since a general misconception that this character is supposed to be virtuous. She does have the traits of a Mary Sue. Disregard for how much money she bets. Supply of money at her disposal is not even hinted at in the anime. She's never in danger. At no point displays any signs of being worried. Constantly displaying the face of someone who's always on top. Besides being nice, to the already shitty characters from the main cast and keeping constant sweetie kitty diabetes facade when not gambling, is there any reason for Yumiko to be seen as an actual force for good in this narrative? I just said not every character is supposed to be likable. Your protagonist isn't protagonist all the time. People want these Naruto, Luffy, Ichigo Karasaki ass characters that are always good and always do the right thing and are trying to always be the Pirate King. No, some people just want fucked up shit. I can't. Yumiko gambles. It is implied that she's very rich. Actually, they say about as much that she comes into a good wealth of money in both the manga and the anime. We don't know her motivations for being here, and that's part of a mystery. And she enjoys gambling. It's not really an issue. The show is less about trying to be quote unquote good or what people perceive as good and more about just making an entertaining thing to read. Like admittedly the manga for Kakegurui is fantastic. Like it'll force you to go through several chapters every time you sit down because it's just like that good. It's it's like one of those shows that takes advantage of being of knowing people like to binge watch. Every episode there's some new thing going on, there's some new character introduced, there's some new issue. And then there's always a cliffhanger. There are a lot of shows that do suffer from this. I didn't think that for example, a non-anime show that did this was Stranger Things. I don't think Stranger Things is really that good, but it was very bingeable. A lot of the Marvel shows on Disney Plus, I'm going to talk about some of them. I didn't think that Loki was particularly good, but Loki had a pretty strong cast of characters, as I think Kakegurui does in the context of the world, mind you. In the context of the world, these are pretty strong, quote unquote, characters. But when I was watching Loki, it seemed like at the beginning they would pick up where the last episode left off, explain that. There'd be some stuff in the middle, and then it would set up the last part of that episode where it got intense and then left at a cliffhanger, and it would just keep you watching the next episode. It felt like it took advantage of social media and binge watching to get hype and get you to click on the next episode, even though for a good 40 minutes out of the hour episode, nothing really happened. They just repeated the whole plot again. But Kakegurui is a good anime. It's entertaining, and it doesn't try to be more than that. At no point does the anime make you sit down and take it seriously. But people are wrong, and that's okay, because I'm right. How do I know I'm right? I have a podcast. Wink. All right, so we're going to switch to another one real quick. This is Monster Musume. Everyday Life with Monster Girls. Monster Musume, I must say, is one of my favorite animes when I'm just trying to sit down and just put something good on. It follows a main character who is the lead of a harem that he kind of just amasses like most other harem shows. And what's special about this show is that all the girls in his harem are monster girls. His first main girl is a snake girl. He gets a spider girl at one point. He gets a slime girl. He flirts with a zombie girl at one point, and a bird girl. Like, it's a pretty funny one. And by no means is it a standout special one, but it's really freaking good. Like, it's pretty freaky funny and entertaining, and I like it a lot. And I don't personally know anybody who's seen it that had something to say otherwise. So we're gonna find out who had something to say otherwise. It's difficult to review a show like Monster Musume because it's not just run of the mill bad, but mystifyingly bad. Oh, this is a long good one, man. This is an ecchi anime that decided to change one basic element of the formula and make all the girls monster girls. This is a series where ecchi lovers try to masturbate to a snake girl, a Quelaag from Dark Souls, a centaur, and many others. I don't see the issue with that, but we're going to keep going. This series completely torpedoes, and it was made for about 25 people on DeviantArt. So obviously this person doesn't like monster girls. That's what I got from this. This person just doesn't like monster girls. And that's fine. Just say it's not for you. Our male lead's an average guy that received a monster exchange girl, a snake body with a human torso, as a mistake. He's kind to the snake girl and even defends her honor from some random xenophobes by beating them up. The series goes downhill because more and more monster girls join, and the series becomes extremely predictable and generic. My bad. I didn't know we were watching ecchi harem shows for the plot, B. I had no idea ecchi harem shows were for the plot. We're watching for the cute girls. End. End. What, you expected a grand reveal like Attack on Titan does? Or you wanted something as deep and character-driven as Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood? Did you want a critique on fascism? It's for cute girls. Good Lord. It's fairly decent, but unsurprisingly, nothing amazing. This is yet another series that Giant Tits tries to milk money out of the Japanese buyers by releasing an uncut DVD, which is the exact same footage with a couple nipple shots added in. Don't expect buyers to fork over extra money to see your poorly drawn boobs. Boobs are boobs. All right, one more. Where do I start with this one? I know, it is god-awful. Now, I don't know what I was expecting when I started, but what I got was not even bad. That's an insult to anime. This is on par, if not worse, than School Days. Yeah, I said it. I like how they tried to put a bit of extra sauce on that one. The main character has as much personality as a cardboard standee of a brick. Don't talk about Kirito like that. The show is over-sexualized to the point where even hardcore fans of ecchi genre are turned off. The plot is non-existent. There are scenes that could be considered borderline rape. Have I finished this? No. Do I plan to? Hell no. I have seen some bad stuff, but none as bad as this. Hey, yo! Again, I say, name me an ecchi show with a character with a hard personality outside of Konosuba. But that's not even ecchi. Main characters in these ecchi harem shows are always just boring protagonists. Why? Because we're not there for them. We're there for the, wait for it, the boobs. Oh my goodness, man. I cannot believe people felt so strongly about an ecchi harem show. It's just okay. Like, stop it. Okay, last one. Last one. One of my favorite shows is called Devil is a Part-Timer. One of my favorite shows is called Devil is a Part-Timer. One of my favorite anime ever. If you haven't seen it, oh, please do. It is one where Lord Satan and his subordinates are in the land, a fictional land of Ente Isla, and they are defeated and crushed by the humans that they are oppressing, led by a warrior named Emilia the Hero. As a last-ditch effort, Lord Satan takes him and his top-ranking subordinate onto a brand new dimension. He just opens up a portal and just gets in as a last-ditch effort to save himself. And he's followed by Emilia the Hero. This brand new dimension is modern-day Tokyo. So, Lord Satan and his top official, they're just in Japan as normal humans, and they don't have any magic to work with because they're just in modern-day Japan now. So Lord Satan starts a job at McDonald's where he attempts to acquire wealth and social status and then take the world over. And it's hysterical. It truly, and that's the basis for the whole comedy, is this man who is used to these big, great things, being super powerful, now has to work in the McDonald's. And he doesn't take the McDonald's working as just like a slight against him. Like, he doesn't think that he's fallen. Like, he takes his job at McDonald's mad seriously. And it is such a fun anime to watch because of that. But apparently, I'm the only one who felt like that. Let's read the first comment. I don't know if you can call anything in this anime a story. Oh, I'm going to get tight. Oh, I'm going to get tight about this one already. I can feel it. I don't know if you can call anything in this anime a story. Sure, there were minor conflicts, but most of it was just routine. I would give the story 3 points just because there seemed to be 3 major arcs where there was any form of development. Lucifer, the second encounter with Susanoo, and the third encounter with the Archangel. The others are rather filler or small and don't add much. I'm guessing y'all never heard Slice of Life. Is that what... I'm not mad. I'm just gonna assume y'all have no idea what slice of life is, because slice of life can just be fun. Like, it can just be fluff. Like, not every filler episode is a negative. There are some shows that can just put an episode of just, hey, we're gonna let the characters drive this one. My bad. Didn't know that was a crime. My bad. Didn't know that was a crime. Plot wise, nothing including their powers makes sense. Nothing is expected to make sense anyway. Art, 6 out of 10. Pleasant, I like bright colors, but mediocre at best. Nothing stands out. Sound, 4 out of 10. There is no good sound in this anime. The openings or endings all suck. Background music was okay. Character, 5 out of 10. There's some extent of character on Lord Satan's part, but zero depth and even less for the rest of the characters. Every character in that show is great. Fuck that. Every character in this show is great. Fuck all that. The character cast is interesting, but it was very underdeveloped for Arushihara, Orba, and Ashia. Well, will make sense to the start of the beginning of any isekai, with the death of main character by truck. But uh-oh, there is no truck. Part-timer manages to mess up the easiest trope in isekai genre. Instead, they skip and make it a portal into lazy writing. How dare! How dare! The truck-kun trope is probably the second most overused trope in anime outside of the tournament arc. No, third most. There's a tournament arc, which is number 1, and number 2 is having loudmouth, annoying hero having a naturally talented rival who is just this brooding emo guy. Like, that happens all the time. It's a reverse isekai. That's the point. There's no truck in medieval times. How dare you? How do you skip into lazy writing by intentionally not using a trope? So if he got hit by a truck while fighting Emilia the hero with his sword and battle axe, and all of a sudden things work out? Get out of here, man. Get out of here. I find this frustrating because shows like Zombieland Saga managed to nail the truck trope, and Zombieland's not an isekai. Yo, let go of this truck, B. Who hurt you, bro? It's about the Weasley shenanigans that so-called Mao-sama engages, and only to further the lackluster plot, if it could be considered a plot. The subplot I have this white-haired chick named Amelia, and how she's come to defeat the Demon King. A subplot revolves around the human middle-class worker who falls in love with Mao. I find this disgusting, as the Demon King is several thousand years older than his McRonald's worker. Okay, let's dial it back for a second. So, it is a strike against the show that this 14-year-old girl that Lord Satan works with falls in love with him, who, number 1, he's too dense to notice it, and 2, treats her literally like any other coworker. This man does not do anything but respect and be professional with this lady's time. Like, there is no, I'm thousands of years old, you're 14, let's do it. This man has no time for this because he's too focused on making sure McDonald's has a high Yelp review. And fixing the black pepper fryer at the job. There is no way. There's no way y'all can seriously sit here and call that relationship disgusting when he doesn't even understand the fact that she may or may not have feelings. This isn't Twilight. We're not doing that. She is no lolly. Enough. Disgusting. Yes, a girl has a crush on an older man. Have you met a girl before? God. All right. All in all, a pretty ridiculous, almost ludicrous excuse for a plot. This person apparently just started watching anime yesterday because there are so many anime with wild plots. You know the classic Neon Genesis Evangelion? Do you know what it's good at? Sci-fi. Do you know what it's not good at? Making any fucking sense. And I love that show. I enjoyed Meat Carton's opening more than I did the show. The main reason being the main character refuses to adhere to the previously established trope set in stone by its godlike isekai predecessors, Sword Art Online and Koki. All right, that's one. We're done here. We're done, everybody. I already know what to know. SAO was godlike. Like, I'm no hater. Like, I'm a hater of SAO, but like, even its most ardent fans wouldn't call it godlike. We're done here. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed the Ecchi and Chill podcast today. The first part was me just talking about Attack on Titan, and the second part was literally just me having not fun reading hate comments on anime I loved. So if you enjoyed any of this, if you enjoyed any of this content, please listen to me on Spotify, listen to me on SoundCloud, leave a like on YouTube, rate the show, follow, tell your friends. And until next time, I hope to see you in the next one. My name is Suneater Evan.